just sit there, bask in the euphoria. Thank you so much, Canadian Film Festival! Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the CFF and our second short screening of the festival. And over here, I think over here, maybe there, Ashley Rains.
Hi, everyone. I am Ashley Rains, and I'm co-programmer for the Canadian Film Fest. And before we begin our Q&A with our exceptional filmmakers today, Canadian Film Fest would like to reiterate a statement we made earlier this week, and it's that Canadian Film Fest stands in solidarity with our BIPOC friends and colleagues in our commitment to anti-racism. We promise to continue to do our part to ensure we lift up BIPOC voices, both within our organization and in the stories we tell. We believe that Canada has more than one voice, and we want to continue to offer our platform to creators to tell your stories. We have taken this week as individuals and as an organization to reflect, to listen, and we commit to our filmmakers and audience to continue this dialogue and work after the festival. On that note, we would like to say a warm welcome to Along the Water's Edge. Thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing your film with us.
Yes, welcome all. Jonathan, maybe you want to take everybody through like a quick introduction of everybody in their roles?
Yeah, so everybody, my name is John Elliott. I was the writer, director, and cinematographer of Along the Water's Edge. We're joined here today by Erica Orofino, who is the producer of the movie, producer extraordinaire. We have Nadia George here, who did the voiceover and was one of the actors in the film. And we have Tara Mooney here, who is also one of the actors in the movie, who was drenched in the waterfall.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody. I want to start by saying, one, just it's a beautiful film. It looks gorgeous, and you said you were the DOP as well as the director and the writer. And I mean, this is one thing about short films is you always have many different hats on. So how did you balance that, and how did you even like right from the beginning? Is that something you knew you were going to take on all those responsibilities yourself, or did it just happen that way? How do you decide on something like that and then end up with such a great short?
For me, it was important to kind of like tell the story in a very personal way. A lot of the things that were happening in the film were based on experiences that I had growing up, and other Indigenous people that I know growing up in reserves all across Canada experience. So for me, it was kind of important to have as much of the story told from our perspective as possible. So for me, that also meant kind of stepping into that role, because there were certain visuals in my mind that kind of just from my childhood stuck out very clearly that I wanted to kind of communicate. And I knew that sometimes going through methods of translation between certain people and people who may not share the same experience, some of that imagery could get lost. So I kind of thought it was important to just step into that role as well. But I don't know, it felt very natural, and I think it worked well because we were working with a really small team that everybody had worked together before anyway. So yeah, we all had a really good shorthand. So everybody was able to just kind of like, you know, work really well together as a unit. And that allowed me to just kind of like forget about worrying about a lot of the other stuff that was going on and just be able to focus on what we were doing at the moment.
So for that message, the central theme, even like, and you said that is a lot of it based on your personal experiences. So how does that sit now versus, let's say, 10 years ago? Is there an end in sight? Because to me, the clean water, for example, it's insane that is not fixed since 2020. How's that looking like from your perspective right now?
Well,
anybody else on your team, please.
Yeah, I'll just quickly speak to that. So in the beginning credit of the movie, it says there's over 55 communities, Indigenous reserves that are under boil water advisories. That number has increased since the movie was made. So it's over 61 right now. And even where I grew up, the Six Nations Reserve, here in Ontario, it's the biggest reserve in Canada. I grew up and didn't have access to any clean drinking water through like normal piping or anything like that. So we had to go and fill up our water jugs at the Public Works, which was one of the scenes that was shot in the movie. And even when we were there shooting, every 2 minutes, that scene, we had to stop filming because people were coming in to fill up their water jugs to give their family clean water for the week. You know, it's good that our community, we have set up like a new water treatment plant, and there's infrastructure being put in place to kind of provide water, like clean drinking water to the community, but there's still a huge like price wall there. It's very slow to get everything kind of on the go. So it's a slow process. It's improving slightly in our community, but unfortunately a lot of other communities have it much more difficult than us. I'll let Nadia or Taryn speak to that as well.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because, you know, when you're out there and you're seeing this, it really kind of just it makes you speechless to think that, you know, if we were somewhere much like Toronto or Los Angeles or New York, like this wouldn't even be a discussion. When we watched the whole water crisis happen in Walkerton, you know, a very small town, they were right on it. They were talking about it. It was all over the news, and yet for some reason this still seems to be so hidden. And
yeah,
it's just so disheartening.
That must just frustrate you guys a million times more than it frustrates me, for example, just because it's 61. Why is it going up? Do you guys know? Because when I read normal media, it says the government saying that we're on it, we're fixing it. But if it's going up, then there's obviously a bigger problem.
Well,
Yeah, and I think just a lot of the stuff, like the infrastructure that's being put in place in a lot of these communities is not designed for longevity. And unfortunately, they don't also have the resources or the personnel to kind of maintain the stuff, right? So a lot of these communities, maybe they were set up 20 years ago with water treatment plant, but the technology wasn't there and the resources, to just kind of continue maintaining that. All of that technology just kind of falls apart. So it's, you know, it's a topical addressing of the issue, but unfortunately not a lot is being done to actually solve what are at the roots of the issue, which is, you know, forced relocation to areas that are already known to be uninhabitable and, you know, have these types of issues. So there's a lot of inner workings at play, and it's a tricky issue to kind of talk about. You know, there's a lot of factors that happen.
Yeah, Taryn, how's that, like, from your viewpoint then? How has this directly affected you, for example?
I never grew up in any of those communities. I am part Native, and we visited them periodically, like my mom and I. I suppose it affects me when I try to talk about it with people, and their mentality is kind of conditioned to discriminate, and it's really not in the media. The awareness that we really do have a fourth world nation in a first world country, and I think if people saw it more in the media, it might be triggered to set things into motion.
I hope so. Erica, so with all this in mind, did you get on board this project like right at the beginning, or are they pulling you in? And how does that? How do you? Sorry, I'm still stuck on that. It's going up. I don't understand how people cannot have clean water in Canada. And I'm sorry, my head's like a whole bunch of places right now. But for the actual filming, then, when did you come on board, and how did you integrate into this story and message?
So I just want to apologize in advance. I'm in a cafe and it's very loud here, so I hope everyone can hear me. So John and I have been working together for many, many years. And so I was on board very early in the project. And I knew what the topic was beforehand, of course, but it wasn't until we actually got on set and started filming and I saw these places, and then, like when John mentioned, like when we were filming in the water, when we were filming in the water refill station, we literally had to stop every 2 minutes because people were there, like people were coming to take showers, people were coming to fill even just like a small water bottle, like a little small drinking bottle. They would have to go all the way over there, fill it up and leave, and we would have to, let them do that. So I think for me that was like a major reality check, because it's one thing hearing about it, and then it's another thing actually going there and seeing this, and then seeing how it permeates everything. Like I felt, I felt almost honored or grateful that to be able to experience that for myself, because I'm a white person. Like I have never had to see or feel any of this. Wow, I just did not answer your question. Yes, I started on the project very early, mostly because of my working relationship with John.
Well,
I was going to say, for those tuning into the Q&A who didn't get to see this short as part of the program today, where can they see it next?
Yeah.
It's playing at a few different festivals. The names are kind of escaping me right now, unfortunately. But it is available online publicly. So it can be found on Vimeo, I think on my personal page, and I believe I posted it on Facebook a few times here or there. So yeah, it can be found online, but it will be playing at a few festivals coming up soon, I think in this month.
Excellent. Well, the more people that see this and more of this kind of messaging, the better, as far as I'm concerned. So thank you very much, everybody, for being part of the CFF this year. This is one of these movies that I think is so important and to show. And thank you for honoring our lineup with it. So right now we're gonna go. You did kind of mess with my head, though. It was like, sorry, this is why I'm stuttering. It's just crazy. Sorry. But I want to say thank you then to these fine filmmakers. So we hope to see more of you guys in the future, really sincerely do. And for everybody out there in internet land, 1 second, we're going to be right back with our next batch of short film filmmakers. So until then, we'll see each other soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thank you. Yeah.
Hi, everybody. We're back. We're back with the cast and crew of Pressure Play. Eric, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Thank you so much for having us here, man.
Of course, of course. Can you do me a favor? Can you introduce your cast and crew here and their roles?
Absolutely. So we're going to start with my lovely producer, Riel Bowe, Julio Lomega, cinematographer, Spencer Cregan, our composer, and Emilio Lopes. He's our lead actor, played Fraser.
Well, guys, an absolute pleasure to have you here. That was just such a great and even topical movie, because
Thank you.
I've read, like, for example, the portrayal of the coach and his overly aggressive, I'm a man in sports, so I've got to make these kids feel awful. I've been reading a lot about that even in professional sports in the last year. Players are finally starting to call people out like the coaches out. Is that kind of where you got the idea from, or did it stem from something else?
Yeah. Well, originally when Tavish, the writer, Tavish Goodgen, he grew up in Victoria, BC. And the high school that he had went to, he wasn't necessarily into sports, but he would often watch the basketball practices and the games. And this is loosely based off of the coach at that school who, without going into the details, was later asked to resign when many of the parents sort of like stood together and weren't excusing his verbal actions. And so he was like a 10-year professor, taught there for about almost 30 years until he was finally reprimanded. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
yeah, so this is, yeah.
So I was just gonna ask, Emilio, you're brilliant, man. One off. You're just
thank you.
Seriously so good. He's such an amazing presence on there. So have you experienced any kind of abuse from somebody in charge of like a sports team like this, or is that just all just down to your skills?
Yeah, I experienced it in high school, but at the time it was kind of just you're just what's the word, naive maybe. You don't think it's abuse because everybody just thinks it's normal, it's the way it's supposed to be. But I related a character to a younger version of myself. It's just natural in me. I'm a natural introvert, so that kind of worked well with the character.
It really did, and that's what one thing that like killed me is when you keep going in spite of the hardships because you love the game, and you're not going to let that ass dictate what your career path is going to be in the game, and that was really that really sold the film to me. I mean, Eric, you're a great director. Okay, but
this is just a product of the incredible team that we've had. Yeah.
Wow. So then, did you bring Riel in right away? Riel, how did you get involved in the project?
It was right at the beginning. I think, if I recall, I mean, we did the shoot for this film last year, and I think we were in pre-production for it for about 8 to 6 months prior. We started, figuring out what kind of budget we needed to work with, what kind of people we needed to bring in. Eric had done a lot of the legwork a little bit already because he'd been working with Tavish from the beginning. And I was really excited to come on board once I read the script and I knew what the content was and I knew how Eric directed. So I think we were on it from right the beginning. I'm not sure, Eric, what did you do before I joined?
we had co-produced another short, and that's how we had met. And I mean, the project is it's an ambitious idea. And so when I approached Riel and I asked her, I was like, listen, I have a crazy idea to get all these people in a gym and direct this movie. Do you want to? It was over 100 people that day on set. That was like the craziest day I've ever experienced, I guess, on a film. But so approaching Riel with that, and she took no hesitation. She was up for the challenge, and the ambition didn't scare her one bit at all, which was amazing.
Wow.
And then Spencer, I think you've scored how many films? 4 films this festival?
4 films.
And I think you've probably scored a lot of films in the festival, and we didn't note until this year how prolific your work is.
I just like working with cool people, and they can trying to keep hiring me, which I'm always thankful for. I'm really
you and Eric, seeing you guys speak to each other about process on social media, it sounded like you had a really collaborative experience together. What was it like to create and develop the music for this film?
It was wonderful. I mean, Eric, do you want to take it from here and say some stuff?
Yeah, sure. The communication between Spencer and I was always very clear. you know, and it was always very, you know, on top of being enjoyable. The one thing that we did when we sat down, like, I'm a very visual learner. And so I'm someone that, you know, when we sit down in a room, whether it's with Julian for cinematography or even Spencer for music, I'm someone that, you know, when you're, I guess, showing me the process and showing me your work, I'm always someone that sort of learns by way of showing and telling. And so when Spencer comes in and he's like, oh, do you like these chords and the way that the cello comes in? And I'm like, I have no idea. He's like, okay, listen to this. And I'm like, that's great. Or that like made me cry, or that like, right. And so we would sort of work together to build references. And he was always so calm and so patient. Like there were always back and forth calls with, wait, I, you know, did you like this? I'm like, I kind of like this. I like the ending, but I don't really like the beginning. And it felt so quick, but the process was so indulging. And, you know, we were trying to build sort of a world over this one character, more of like a character portrait, and moving through these themes of isolation.
Yeah, and if I can add one thing to there, I think Emilio's performance brought a lot in what the music was going to be, because his performance was so just quiet and subtle. And there was so much going on in his brain, and we wanted to like bring that out in the music and see how can we just help us connect a bit more to just those like spinning wheels. And like I really don't think the music would have turned out the same if it wasn't for that. I think it would have been a completely different thing. So like,
I can bring that full circle because Eric gave me some great notes. So
if I can add one last thing, I would like to really give a shout out to our mixing engineer, Nancy, because I think Nancy brought an entire new level also in like in the sound, that the music wouldn't have worked the same way, I think, without what Nancy was doing. So I really wanted to make sure we said that, because man, she, every time I watch him, like, fuck, I mean, like she brings out a lot that I don't think would have done the same thing without what she did to it.
Very cool.
Absolutely.
And then also I want to say to Julian, it's like, it seems like I bet you say kind of the same things creatively speaking, but the look of it all was, to me, just perfect. It wasn't too dark, but it couldn't be all bright and sunny. And you found this, like, with all the colors, with everything. How did you approach making it look like it did?
Oh, thanks, Bern. With the colors, it was really per location, was like sort of really feeling based of everything. And as well, the script really resonated with me because I played collegiate sports, and I sort of had this sort of feeling and problem with like coaches and like stuff like that in the past and things like that. And so I sort of had these feelings. And sort of with each scenario and scene that we had was like, say the gym was supposed to be sort of like this, like very sort of like it was high bright with all the gym lights, but it was still like sort of dingy. And then with the house was like sort of like overly warm and like overly like comfortable, and just like a lot of like warm light and a lot of colors. And then throughout the rest of the film, our wardrobe designer did a really good job, and as well mixing the palettes, we sort of had like highlight tones like pop off the rest of the film. And there was only like one other real like color shift. Remember with like when Emilio was walking down the hallway, and we like tinged blue a little bit because it was like a very like sad time for him. So yeah, color was a really big part of it. But thank you, Bernard. Yeah.
No problem. Guys, I want to say thank you to everybody. Because Ashley and I was just so happy to be able to program this because it's so topical. It looked great and all that. So thanks for being part of the CFF. I really appreciate it. And please keep making some more movies, because that was easy to program.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you so much.
Thank you for having us, Brent.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
Bye, everyone.
For everyone out there, stick with us. We're going to be right back with our next group. Thanks, guys. Pressure play.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
And we're back. We're back with you two Chuckles cast and crew here. Guys, welcome. And
thank you.
And welcome back.
Say your names. Introduce yourselves.
Please do.
I'm Kevin Harper. I'm writer-director of UT Chuckles.
I'm Taylor Wilson. I'm an actor and producer.
Amazing.
I watched. Sorry, go ahead, Ash.
No, I was going to say, this is not your first time at CFF.
This is the second. We were there in 2018, I believe, with I Love You More, which also starred Taylor and Kumbi.
Yeah.
Kind of like this is the second installment of their one-day trilogy.
So what I love about you two Chuckles and the name of the last short, it was
I Love You More.
I Love You More. Taylor and Kumbi, your relationship on screen is phenomenal. It's hilarious. It like the comedy is gets me every time. It's so great. Do you all work as a team consistently together, and how do you come up with such brilliant comedic ideas?
Why are you guys such geniuses?
Yeah.
Oh, don't get. We only have 5 minutes. Kumbi and I me, Kumbi and Taylor worked on one of Kumbi's films called Horizontal Concavity for a program called Film 5 here in Halifax. And before that short was filming, we thought we would do something on our own together, and that was I Love You More. And I find deadpan sort of British humor the greatest thing on earth, so we all decided we would just do similar to UT Chuckles, the world's most deadpan horror comedy.
It was so right, and it answers all those questions. It's like, why don't they just call the police when you're watching? Why don't they just shoot it? Why don't just block the door?
The police will be here 45 seconds. Yeah.
Well, so I thought I was watching a movie that starred Taylor at the Atlantic Film Fest, where one of the characters at the end, their cell phone couldn't work, and I was like, what would happen if a cell phone actually worked and they could just call the cops? And UT Chuckles was the answer to that, and it would be that the movie would be 9 minutes long.
Yeah, that's true, right? Taylor, are you guys do you do this deadpan your style just normally in every normal day-to-day kind of thing? Because you guys do it flawlessly.
Thanks. No, actually, the first time I sort of did any deadpan humor was with Kev. Kumbi and I are actually partners, both in life and we make films together. So we have probably chemistry because of that. But when it comes to deadpan, that's all Kev.
Really? Wow. Just guys, that was just incredible. So funny. I haven't seen it in so long. Must be 5 months or 6 months. And I was laughing as much today as when I rewatched it today as that first time. So
good.
And are we going to see another film, an extension of their day?
We were gonna do a third one called The Shed, but it got canceled because COVID happened.
Right.
Okay. Well, after COVID, I hope. I would love to see that.
Indeed.
Love to see that. So thank you very much for being part of the lineup this year again. And
we finally get to see you, actually.
Yes.
That's right.
Because of COVID, so.
I've got a $400 credit with Porter because I was going to come out to the actual fest this year.
Okay. At least you have a credit. Yeah, but thanks, guys. We really do appreciate it. It was so much fun. Okay, so everybody out there, stick around. We're going to be right back with our next batch of short film filmmakers. Until then, thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Chuckles. Hi, everybody. We're back. We're back with cast and crew of Stealing from Stoners. Guys, hilarious. So much fun.
Thank you.
Do you guys want to just quickly introduce yourself to everybody out there and your role in the films? Your roles in the film, sorry.
Yeah, I'm Brett Morton. I'm the co-writer, co-director, and I also acted in it. And I guess co-editor.
I'm Cam. I'm all those co's as well. Co's.
And probably some more, right? Like there's always everybody's doing everything on this.
Yeah, it's one of those.
Okay, so how autobiographical is this?
Mm-hmm.
It did happen. It definitely, yeah, it came from a real life experience. We didn't get robbed, thank God, but yeah, we are that lame in real life.
Spiced it up a bit.
Yeah. We wrote ourselves to be way cooler.
Yeah. I don't know if that came across, but
what I love about this though, like underneath all the jokes, it's really about just have some confidence. You're better.
Yeah.
You're probably better than you think, right? And that's what endeared your characters to me when I was watching. And that's what made it so funny is because they didn't get how actually kind of cool they are. And I love that you started off with cool dudes.
Yeah.
Like what has always been the cool dude. Because I don't know, I don't hang out with those kind of people. I never ever wanted to. So I saw a lot of myself in you guys. So which parts were true and which parts weren't?
Well, I think it started from like two like just normal girls approaching us and us being like, why is this happening? And I guess not getting signals, you know what I mean? Guys just not getting signals or whatever, and just being completely clueless. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, you remind me of like this. I remember one time this beautiful girl came up to me in a bar and she said, "Oh, I'm glad you're back." She had seen me like the week before, and I just looked at her and I said, so valid. And I didn't even talk to her the whole night. It was just so funny. So yeah, that's
a power move. We've done that move a couple times.
Yeah, I do that with everything.
So what are you guys
scared of the world?
Cameron, outside of you're a comedian, correct?
Yes, yeah.
And Brett, are you a comedian as well?
Yeah.
So did you start creating this through your work together or?
Yeah, it started as like a 10-minute play for college.
It was for the stage.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then Brett wrote it as a play, and then we put it on the shelf for 12 years, and then we shot it. So
yeah.
That's awesome. Are you in the room where it was shot?
What, sorry?
Are you in the room where it was shot? It looks familiar.
Oh yeah, we are.
It's
actually
a lot going on.
This is my place.
You could have done this together, yeah.
What's that?
You could have done this together.
We are realizing that now.
Yes, that would have been smart. Right.
It's all good, guys. Thank you for sharing your movie with us. It's so nice.
Thanks for having it.
Yeah, thanks for playing it.
Here's a little advice for aspiring filmmakers. When we go through our submissions, 90% of our submissions, maybe even more, are dark themes. They're dramas. They're heavy. Mm-hmm. It's hard to separate yourself from the pack when you are firmly entrenched in that pack. Mm-hmm. And if you want to try comedy, I mean, these guys are proving Canadians still know how to kill it in comedy. So yeah, I would love to see some more from all you guys. And thank you for making one, guys.
Oh man, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you both.
Yeah. For the comedy all the way through the credits too.
We're glad you like those. Yeah.
That's where all the budget went.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Well, thank you guys, and thank you guys for watching the Q&A with us, and stick around because we're going to be right back with the cast and crew from Death of the Party. So hang on, we'll be right back, and thank you very much, Stealing from Stone.
Thank you both. Thank you. This is awesome. Thanks.
Congratulations.
Bye.
Bye.
guys, we're back. We're back with the cast and crew of Death of the Party. Welcome back, guys. Well,
Hi, everyone. Thank you.
Welcome back, right? And yeah, Kristen, do you want to maybe introduce everybody here on your team and the roles?
I'd love to. Thanks, Bern. So we've got Melanie Jones, who is our director. And we've got Justin, who was not only the writer and the lead, but also executive produced the film. And we've got Dave Chick, who was our composer and sound designer.
Amazing.
Hello, all.
Hi. Oh, and I'm Kristen Stilling, and I was the producer.
And okay, so right off the bat, here's what I love about this film, which is a very, very hard thing to do, is balancing comedy and drama and making sure the comedic notes hit as well as the dramatic notes. So how was that from, Justin, when you're writing it, keeping that in mind, to when you're directing it, Melanie, to when you're cutting it, when you're putting the music in? How do you balance that? And that's open to everybody.
Well, it has to come with the script. It needs to have a director that understands that for sure. And Melanie did. So that is a huge part of that. And it's also having a very clear vision going into the writing of it, of knowing what rules you want to break when it comes to this stuff and how to break them in your own voice. But again, that doesn't come through unless you have a director who understands that.
Thanks, Justin. Yeah, I think well, I think that the key was really just like spending a lot of time with Justin and Annabelle, the leads, and really breaking out like what are the beats we've got to hit, and when are we making these like transitions from comedy to drama, and how can we do that? Like how can we make sure there's enough space for those to happen in a way where neither one gets kind of cheapened. The joke falls flat and then the dramatic thing feels corny because it's not sort of paced correctly. And so that definitely was all the way from prep and then right through into the editing, just sort of like managing those little moments, I think. And then, working with Dave on getting the sound and the music, especially because it has to sort of bounce between like comedic and fun and then more serious for sure.
So yeah, Dave, how do you approach that? Making sure comedy hits as well as the drama hits.
Well, it's having I think Melanie really brought to the table a vision, and having that strong vision to be able to communicate that. It is a balancing act that you have to sort of. It's sad. It's not creepy. It's not a whole bunch of different things, and you have to sort of balance that whole thing. And it's just one of those things. It really comes down to communication, being able to put something out there. What do you think about this? And getting the feedback and incorporating it back into the whole thing. Because one of the things that we did was I remember Melanie was talking about when the door opens and that light comes in. There's a real it's stereotypical want to have this sort of angels and the harps and all that kind of stuff, but that's not what we wanted. We didn't want to have creepy. We wanted to have some sort of special meaning, but it wasn't something that was just overtly stereotypical.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, yeah, great job. Sorry, Ash.
Yeah, so getting that balance of the comedy and drama and it's great, and then the performances are exceptional. We're really moving. But another striking element of the film is the visual effects, and when we see that he actually is a ghost. How hard was that to create and sell that moment in the film?
Hard.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little hard. It was a little challenging on the day. We were running out of time, but in post, visual effects work. All the superhero movies have all those visual effects, and they're wearing these skin tight uniforms, right? We had these big bulky onesies that we had to work around, and I'm supposed to be this transparent ghost. So our visual effects artist, Daniel, was willing to take on that challenge, and it was a challenge indeed. There are yeah, you can hide things with visual effects, and there's some like splicing you can do. But I knew even writing it that I didn't want a huge visual effect element in the film because I knew that would slow us down in post. So I knew that the moment that we had to have those visual effects, it had to be very poignant. It had to mean something. It had to matter. So it was something that we wanted to make right. And I'm glad that you asked the question why you did, because I feel like maybe we hit it.
You did.
Most definitely.
Yeah, I would add to that I think it helps that we did it sparingly because of that. So we didn't need the whole movie for you to be like blue and glowing. We needed, you sort of actually a little bit rooted in reality so that the humanity of this relationship could be really strong and really clear. And then every once in a while, there would be some little thing where we'd be like, oh, he didn't move, but he just like jumped to the top of the stairs, or, oh, his hand went through the picture. And that little hints give you the sense that he's a ghost, but they don't like sort of scream that he's a ghost the whole time, which I think helps that overall story.
Yeah, that sort of translated back into the sound and the music as well. It's more of a subdued soundscape and a score that's not overt and hitting you over the head with what to feel and how to feel and how to be empathetic with the characters.
Yeah, and Kristen, you must obviously enjoy producing comedies, right? Is that?
Oh yes. So I'm an alumni of the festival. My short film, which was also directed by Melanie Shuttlecock, played last year at the festival. And we love playing around with comedy. And this particular project was brought to us by Justin and Annabelle, which was a pleasure. It's always fun when you have a close relationship with the team. And Annabelle really wishes she could have joined us today, but she is unfortunately back in Australia, which is her home country, and it's 4 a.m. So
that's fair.
We let her off the hook.
All good, but big thank you for rejoining us and for showing and for just showing your movie at our festival. Such a strong addition to our lineup. We couldn't be happier to have you guys. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good rest of the fest.
Thank you. To everybody else out there, hang out because we're going to be right back with our next batch of short film filmmakers. And thank you very much, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
And we're back. We're back with fine folks from 8+ Weeks. Hello, welcome to the CFF.
Hello. Hey guys.
Hello. Do we want to start? I don't know. Maybe Mike. You want to introduce yourself and everybody else in their roles in your film?
Yes. I couldn't take credit for the film. This is really Tara's film. She wrote it. She produced it. It was the star. I was kind of just there as the director role to like hopefully she doesn't mess up the performance. And the cameo. And the weird facial hair cameo. But yeah, so this is Tara Federico. It's Federico, am I saying it right?
You're saying it great.
Yeah, she's like I said, the writer, she's the star. She was the producer behind the scenes. I don't know if creator is the right word, but she really brought this passion project to life. Michelle, I'm gonna mess up your last name. Sorry, how do you pronounce it?
Hanitijo.
Okay, this is Michelle. She's the DP. She was a pleasure to work with. She made everything look pretty and brought a really unique style to the whole film, which ended up
great.
And this is Paige Locke. She's a producer on the film. Tara and her are constant collaborators, and yeah, it was a dream team to work with all these fine folks.
So then, Tara, did you just decide to bring all these fine people together? And I assume you did just because you wrote it. So it probably started with you. Am I right?
Yeah. So I wrote it and hadn't really sort of endeavored into filmmaking to such of like, I'm gonna start it and finish it and make it. So I honestly relied on Mike a lot because Mike had more of that background where he had gone to film school. He knew sort of the ropes. Paige, we lived together, so we were friends.
I think I approached you because obviously I was there watching you write it. Like I was there since like the first day that she was like, I think I have an idea. And then I remember it got to the point where it was the time to hire the team. And I was like, can I produce it?
Yeah. And then DOP, like we were just kind of like waiting, kind of thinking of people we had in mind. Some people were busy already filming things. And we definitely wanted to bring like a woman on. So Michelle was an easy fit. She just got recommended through mutual friends that I had from, the hangouts or whatever. And it just kind of came together, luckily. Very fortunate in that way.
And the film is so beautifully stylized. How did you come to that style? So first of all, congratulations, Michelle, and the photography is beautiful. And Mike, like how did you collaborate on that style? And
I think just like generally, I have like kind of a style that I usually shoot with, and some parts you can see like lots of headroom and stuff like that. So like it's definitely a collaboration with Mike, and every time I set up a shot, I would get his opinion about like what we're trying to get in this, and also Tara as well. So
and to remind you, to be honest, like we had like skeleton crew, so it's like we're all just kind of looking at each other being like, okay, this is the shot, let's go. Like,
yeah. And we had short time frames sometimes as well, and also dealing with like the weather was really tough as well.
It was cold. It was like the coldest weekend that we've had so far. We were like, how did this happen?
Yep.
Oh man, that's one thing to battle budgets and that, but then the weather on top of everything.
Yeah.
That's funny to me because I didn't notice. So that's all. I mean, that's some high level acting there, Tara. That's really
good. Make it.
Also throw it over to Melissa Peters, who isn't in the room right now, but she was like also very much a part of the collaboration as a producer, right next to us doing the first AD role and being like, you guys look cold. Like we need to just do the shot again and try not to look cold. It's cold.
Yeah.
But like kudos to her because spirits kept going, and I think we were all cold but happy.
Oh, that's awesome because and to sort of reiterate something Ashley said, the look of it to me helped with the realism of the characters and the story that they found themselves in. So great job, Michelle and Mike on that. So then, Tara, is that something that then you were talking to them about because you wanted that kind of look, like that kind of look that lent realism to the story, which to me, the comedic bits in it as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think again, like we were lucky enough to get someone to come on and do wardrobe, Cassandra Deal Schneider. Again, someone who kind of like presented herself being like, I would be happy to work on this just because I'm interested in it and I want to do it. And I think we kind of drew from like people who we knew which were like artists and kind of poor but still trendy. So it was always kind of landing in that like, can she afford this jacket? Yeah, she bought it. It's crazy. But like then the jeans are ripped or whatever it is. It's kind of like it was supposed to be like real, very real.
It definitely is. So great job to all of you and to all of your other cast and crew that happened not to be here. We were so happy to be able to include you guys and your movie in our lineup. So
Thank you.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
It's really exciting to be involved with this festival after going to your opening night parties and your closing parties, and now to have a film in it. It's really cool.
Cool. That's always nice to hear. That's always cool to hear. Even though we're in a bit of a different space right now, but it's going strong, so we're happy.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay, so to everybody out there watching, stick around. We're gonna say goodbye to these fine people, and we'll be right back with the next batch of short film filmmakers. So until then, thank you very much, 8+ Weeks crew.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Hi everyone, we're back with the cast and crew of For the Best. Before we get started, I'm gonna just say that Maddie and her crew are very patient people. And I wanna thank you for your patience while we pivoted into the new thing, and there were behind the scenes issues that they were just lovely about. So thank you, Maddie, and to everybody else here. Cheers.
No, thank you and Ashley Byrne for setting everything up. You guys have done such a good job.
Well, let's talk about you though and your movie. Do you want to maybe first introduce yourself and introduce other people and their roles in your film?
Yeah, so my name's Maddie Wall. I'm the writer, director, producer, actor, general crew person. Yep. And yeah, I'll let everyone else introduce themselves.
Yeah. Victoria, you want to go?
Sure, absolutely. Hey everyone, I'm Victoria Pearson. I worked as the production designer on the film, and just kind of helping create the visual world of the 60s and 70s, which is very fun.
I bet. I have a whole bunch of questions for you in a bit. Jordan?
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, hi. I'm Jordan Griffith. I was the director of photography on For the Best.
Excellent. And Dave's back.
I'm back. Yeah, I'm the composer for the Best.
Excellent. Well, it's good to have all of you here, definitely. So, Maddie, how do you get such an amazing group of people together? Well done, because the end product was just phenomenal.
Thank you. Yeah, the final product really speaks to how talented my team is and how much everyone put their passion into it. And honestly, like I know Jordan and Victoria through friends. We've been friends for a few years, and Dave I knew through another friend, and honestly the rest of my crew is just people I've known since I moved to Vancouver and from high school, and happened to work in film, happened to be very passionate, and we're just inspired to come on this journey with me, and I couldn't be more grateful to help.
Well, we couldn't be more grateful that you were able to put that amazing team together to tell a really, really heartfelt and touching story. So to talk to like the writing of the story and, finally getting it out in the finished product, how did you assemble these fine folks in, from script stage to where we are now?
Well, when I'd finished my sort of last or mostly working draft, I just started sending it to people saying, like to Jordan, for example, saying, got this script, love you to read it. If you like it, let's meet for coffee and talk more. That's kind of what I said to everybody, and met up with people, and everyone kind of connected to it in a different way and had a different, not necessarily a different interpretation, but just a different connection or relation to the character or the story, and just wanted to be a part of it. So yeah, it was just honestly reaching out to my friends and connections.
Then how much did you work with Victoria and Jordan to get the look of it? Because the look of it was so good. Guys, it was fantastic. It was like I was in a time machine.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Yeah, well, I mean, when I brought Jordan on, so Victoria is Jordan's wife, and Jordan was like, oh, Tori's gonna love this. She loves period piece. So once Tori came on board, we had a bit of discussion, and then Tori, you can take it from there. This is your...
Yeah. Thank you. No, it was really, really exciting because honestly, as far as the short film world, it's very infrequent that kind of period pieces come your way. And so as soon as it was like, oh, it's, 60s and 70s period piece, and it takes place within Canada too, which is another thing that never happens. Yeah. I was super eager to jump on board, especially because it's a time period that I hadn't had a chance to really dive into much in my previous work either. So yeah, just getting a chance to do the research, and Maddie, working super close with you, and you had done so much research already about the time period and had phenomenal reference photos. It was just such a delight to help put that together. And yeah, just creating that world was really, really great, as well as kind of doing it from a short film. I mean, not huge amounts of budget, so we had to get creative in some areas. So yeah, it was a really, really fun process.
Wow. So then Jordan, then how involved were you with the look, and when did you come on board, and how does that work when you're on a smaller budget and you're really aiming for, like Victoria said, small budget but period piece?
Mm-hmm.
I think we just really had to limit what we saw, and we had to really plan very carefully the sequences and try not to see too much of the world that actually exists.
So like 10 extra centimeters to the left, and you're in 2019.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So I think when Maddie and I met, we started to kind of storyboard together, and I think that was a pretty effective way of doing it.
Wow.
Right. Yeah, no, Jordan's being humble. He planned the shots meticulously, and we did a location scout, and especially at the school scenes, just like walking through everything, and he color graded it and was really instrumental in giving it that extra bit of look, the color, and just that period feel that I was going for.
Wow. So lots of prep.
Yeah.
Lots of prep. Right?
Lots of prep.
This is something that I've bumped into filmmakers who don't do that, and it's obvious in the finished product.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a good lesson for any emerging filmmaker out there. Like prep. It's like writing a script. The more you outline, the better the script is. The more you prep, the better you shoot, right? And easier probably. Yeah. And then Dave, so then do you get the final product and then you're starting, or were you a part of the process the whole way through?
Pretty well. Maddie, I think she was just getting into the beginning of the editing when I got contacted, and we had a coffee, and we sort of discussed what was going on with the film, and she sort of it intrigued me in the fact that it was sort of straddling the line between being sad but also being hopeful at the same time. Like there was a conflict in the main character, but it wasn't overt. It was sort of a subdued kind of thing. So I had to be able to ratchet in the score that it's not in your face about all of these different emotions that you should be feeling, but also just be there to sort of suggest, so to speak.
Wow. Well,
yeah.
Brilliant job again, Dave.
Thank you.
The score was just so special.
Yeah.
Thanks, Maddie.
No problem. Ashley, do you have anything to ask?
Oh yeah, I was gonna go back to Jordan and Maddie. You're talking about what you specifically needed, but you also were really innovative on set with your car traveling scenes.
Yeah, actually, that was what I was most excited about.
Yeah.
What reading the script was like, oh, a traveling scene, car scene. This is going to be awesome. And I just met some people working on set who were very kind enough to lend us their gear to go and do it. And we were shooting in Penticton, and these guys are based in Vancouver, so. The support level was, here's the stuff, and we'll give you a brief on how to use it, and then you're on your own in Penticton.
Good luck, basically.
So, yeah.
That's so nice. I love when filmmakers help each other out like that. And, I mean, otherwise, you can't get certain shots done, and then you have to rethink the movie or whatever. So yeah, that's great that you have those people helping you out. Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for being part of the CFF this year. It was just a pleasure putting that into our short screening this year. We really do hope to see more from you. So please, after we hang up here, go make some more movies for us. It would really
Sounds good.
To everybody else out there, hold on a second, because we're going to be back with one more set of filmmakers. And until then, guys from For the Best, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bern and Ashley.
Ashley.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. We're back. We're back with the CFF Q&A and our closing movie, Shoegazer.
Yay!
We got you guys here. Thank you so much for being part of the festival. It was such an absolutely brilliant movie. This just pulled me in, sucked me in, and I couldn't stop watching the first time I saw it, like 6 months ago or whatever it was. So
Yeah.
thank you very much. You want to maybe introduce yourself and your cohorts here and their roles in the movie?
Okay. So I think, I'm not sure we had Rachel, but she's probably coming back. So my name is Aisha Evelina, and there she is. And I am the writer and star of Shoegazer. And I'll let the other three lovely people introduce themselves as well.
I'm Olunike Adali. I am an actor in the film Shoegazer.
Rachel, you want to go next?
Yeah, I'm Rachel Cairns. I helped produce this project.
Cool. Ian?
Hi, I'm Ian, and I was the cinematographer.
Excellent. So, Aisha, you wrote it as well. So, when you wrote it, is that something where you write it and you haven't told anybody about it, or you have an idea and you get the group together, then you write it? Everybody's process is a little different. So, I'd love to hear how you start this amazing project from, the time you think about it, the time you have a finished product.
I often think that sometimes, like, I kind of say, like, it won't leave me alone. So I had made a film a while ago called Accidentals, and then I was like at the airport. I had just come from a Black film festival called Black Star, and I was at the airport, and like I had been ruminating on an idea, and like with regards to like two people of different colors trying to connect over love. And so I guess it kind of just evolved, and it was a very personal story for me as well, because like it has to do with myself and how I understand Blackness, and how I see myself in the world. And so I guess my writing process was, I kind of kept it to myself for a bit and like wrote it, but then it was like the world there's a synchronicity where it's like the idea wouldn't leave me alone, and then opportunities would pop up, like submit your script to this. And so like I kind of just kept workshopping it, and then the Toronto Actor Women's Committee, I submitted it to their short film creation lab, and they really liked it. And then are like, okay, we're going to pair you with mentors, and away you go. And so it's just like, yeah, that's how it happened. I was just writing and ruminating and writing and ruminating, and then the opportunities led to one to another.
I'm so glad, because it was just so enjoyable and important on so many different levels. I mean, regardless of the year it came out, I would say the same thing. But right now, especially, that everybody seems to be finally taking things really seriously. It's also topical. Although, again, it could be topical in any year it would have been made. But is that, with regards to the theme and everything, is that how you bring everybody together? Is that what interested most people? Or how did you get this far? You have Olunike here, who's a very accomplished actor and
CSA nominee, yeah.
Right? Yeah. So how do you bring everybody together with your film?
Well, I genuinely think, and like I feel like a lot of producers will say it starts with the story, and I'd like to let Olunike speak to this, but like I had worked with her daughter, Olunike's daughter Alicia, at a restaurant for some time, and I was kind of just like a silent fan, because I do believe in mentorship, like having people to look up to. So I was like, your mom's Olunike, and then from there we kind of just had a relationship. And so I reached out to her because I saw an opportunity. I guess I looked up to her, and it's like, who do you want to work with, kind of thing. But I'll also like let Olunike speak on like why she decided to work on it, or like the other Ian or Rachel as well.
Yeah, that's a great way to go, because I was going to ask you, Olunike, I mean, this is a small independent short film, and your list of credits is huge, deservedly so. So that you're lending your voice and your talents to this production speaks volumes to the person you are. And also, is that something you always strive to do and help other filmmakers?
Yes, I've always allowed that to be a part of my process. It's the send the elevator back down thing. Like you have to have mentors and have mentees. I find that that's the formula for any success for any industry that you're in. It allows you to continuously practice and also learn, and also impart whatever you've learned to others. And
Yeah,
so,
because
yeah, it's
you
very
stop
important. And she
learning.
had an incredible subject matter. And I said, oh my gosh, absolutely. Any way I can help. And particularly, I'm always very, very forward about how much I want to help Black females in the entertainment industry get their foot in the door as well, as mine gets in through the door as well.
Yeah,
Give and take.
Yeah, and also what you said too is also true, right? You never stop learning. And,
no.
Right? And as a creative person, that only helps in everything else you do.
Absolutely. And for me, it helps me to make it about the work and not about where I need to be on the scale of famous or whatever. That means absolutely nothing. It's craft and the craft and stories and the important stories that we must tell, because storytelling, oldest thing in the world, and it does so much. It heals and, it brings people together. So I would rather be a part of telling that journey than trying to just get in this for myself. It doesn't make sense to me. I wasn't brought up that way in my community, and so that's what I usually give back.
That's great to hear, and I hope more people in your position keep helping us as well, and all of our amazing filmmakers out there. So thanks for that, definitely. And, sorry, Ashley?
Yeah, in addition to the brilliant performances in this film, visually, like the cinematography and the directing are exceptional. So we should shout out to Ben, who is the director of the short. But Ian, what was your process working with Issa? Some of the shots are just like painterly and poetic, and the music that just elevates the scenes. How did you get to that look and that style?
That's a really good point that you pointed out. The music, it's so strong.
Oh yeah, Jason Kous did that. He's great. Back to
yeah, it's so good. I took me back for a second thinking about it. I was so lucky that I got to meet Issa. I don't even remember at this point how the connection started, but I do remember that we sat endlessly in coffee shops week after week leading up to this project. And she was one of those people that when you just start talking, there's no place for the conversation to end. We just talked forever about every subject, including the film, and then just life in general. And we would sit and talk until we both were like starving and tired and exhausted, and the sun had set and we had to go home. And so there was a lot of lead up going into the film about sort of the nuances of just like where storytelling comes from inside of us, that then it just made the practical sense about it just sort of seem very natural. It just all unfolded very naturally once we sort of had these very long conversations leading into it. Yeah.
And then, so when you're shooting on the day, with the camera moves, like there's some great movements that really kind of open up the story, but also the personal moments that Aisha's character is going through. Did you find those on the day, or in your conversations with Issa, did that evolve?
Yeah, that's cool. Issa can speak very powerfully about someone's character, both character in a story and the actor
in the world.
Yeah, in the world. Yeah, totally. And so, yeah, like coming from our conversations beforehand, I think I had a really good sense of what the energy, or I developed an understanding myself inside about what the energy would be. And then on the day, it kind of became this amazing treat to be able to sort of get into the ebb and flow and to move and to dance with the performers.
Yes, 100%. Like, I feel like I remember like when we were shooting me in front of the bathroom, that kind of stuff, I was just like, I'm being an actor, I don't know what's happening. And then after they had called cut, they were like, wow, nice. And like Ian had said, he's like, oh, we found some really nice moments to like work together.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And that's
sorry. No, what were we gonna say?
It's cool. That's just so much of it is this beautiful little dance that you get to do together. And then I remembered what I would like to note is how cool it was that in the alleyway, we got to both do this dance, but also under the dance of the clouds changing. And I think that added a lot to the narrative and came so beautifully together in the edit that Tom did of like the camera moving and the performers dancing together, and then like the sky and the natural world dancing with us. Very
but I also think it's kind of important to note as a testament to Ian. Ian just like loves what he does. Like he just loves, and same thing with Olenike and like also Rachel. These are like artists. They love what they do. They're down to get in it and get kind of gross because they like love the artist storytelling, and they like Ian loves like light and loves cameras. You know what I mean? And like Olenike, she talks about her process and like why that's important for her process. These are artists. The idea being like we're not just in it to like make a film, because like we all knew going into it we weren't going to make any money on it anyway. So there's that to also note.
I love that theme that you're talking about in this production, that it came together through ACTRA, Women's Committee, and then the mentorship, those relationships within the production itself, which I think is phenomenal. So Rachel, as a producer, what did mentorship and these relationships mean to you getting this film up and in front of a camera?
It was great. I mean, it takes a village always, and particularly with these projects that are uber indie and that they really are made on favors and fairy dust, it feels like. But ACTRA, the beautiful thing about this program that ACTRA offers is that each of the key creative members, so the writer, the producer, and the director, have a mentor that they can go to as a sounding board. And all of us, you know, fostered new relationships with people we might not have, you know, crossed paths with as soon as we did. And they were good at giving us guidance and allowing us to trust our instincts. And it's always a bit of kind of mercurial magic when you're bringing a team together. And I think that we did have a bit of luck just in terms of finding people who were truly, as Aisha says, artists and storytelling geeks in various capacities to just get down and get dirty and get it done. You know, like you're shooting over 3 days, no one's being paid, everyone's being fueled by granola bars. Like it's not
there's no
sexy.
poutine as a sub.
No, but everyone's attitude was so invested in the story, and it was really like, it wasn't easy, but it was the easiest that it can be when you're trying to execute a film from pre to post production.
And
well,
also,
I really hope that this film and this experience helps this team take their next step together. So under that category, where else can our audience watch the film, and what are you doing next?
Okay, well, also just like so quickly with regards to like the idea of mentorship and like with regards to the climate right now, the idea of extending the ladder downward, putting the proof is in the pudding, putting your money where your mouth is. Like I got to work with Karen Walton. I would have never even known, she would have never known that I exist. And so I think also with regards to mentorship, it's like consistent, like same thing with Olenike, like she answered my email. But anyway, I guess with the film, it's still on its festival run. So it's been pretty much a few places in America and a couple places all on the East Coast. And so we're still kind of like doing the tour of it because I paid money for the submissions, even though everything is kind of grinded to a halt. So there we go. So it'll be available eventually and I'll be sure to share it. And for me, I'm just like writing and curious about why there are so few BIPOC individuals that are behind the camera, and how the system that we have can help to foster more people being able to work. It's not enough to say that you are aligned with diversity. I spoke to a CEO of a huge financial company the other day, and she's like, I wanted to work with Indigenous people. I called these people. I drove to find these people, to talk to them, to get them employed by me. And we wouldn't be here really together unless like the Toronto ACTRA Women's Committee had actually put their money where their mouth is with regards to helping us find mentorship to give the story an airway.
That's so well said, so well said. And you're right, the whole mentorship thing, it only makes our whole community stronger. Whether it's a filmmaking community or Canadian communities or whatever, it always just helps. So I'm glad that worked so well for you guys.
Yeah.
Because the end product is honestly, it's like I get breathless at the end. This time when I watched it again, I was just like, it spoke so much to me that it was an absolute honor to close off our shorts screening with your film. So thank you so much, everybody.
And thank you all for joining us on the Q&A.
Yes.
And in this virtual space.
I know. Thank you for being patient with us while we figured things out when we had to cancel a week and a half before the festival. It was, I know, crazy times for everyone, but I'm so happy that you stuck with us. So cheers for that. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Before we do our final goodbyes, are there any other shout outs you guys want to do for your film, for anybody who's not here and maybe who helped you along the way?
Well, Issa Ben, she directed it. She wasn't available for the chat today, but she is a visionary and she's, again, an artist that is in love with cinema. I'll let the rest of anyone else that wanted to give a shout out for sure. Please feel free.
Gosh, on the spot. It's like
Okay.
there's so
Okay. Oh no, I have a list. Okay, I have a list. Okay, so Jason Cows, he's one half of the Darcys. He did our score again for no money, and then Tom Smalley, he edited "Save Me." He's like, we shouldn't have even got him. He edited it for no money. Karen Walton, Chrissy Neville was also the producing mentor on this. Sharon Foster was also the directing mentor on this. These are all people that we want to thank. Joanna Swan at the Toronto Actor Women's Committee, and then also the Toronto ACTRA.
White's and Urban Post.
Yeah.
White's is a big supporter of independent film, period. And they make extra forays into the indie filmmaking world just to make sure people are taken care of. They've been a supporter of us since, like, I think year 3 or year 2 in the early 2000s. And it's always, no matter who takes over that position, they're always so adamant about helping indie filmmakers. So we need that to keep happening and for more of it to keep happening. If you are in a position where you can help an indie filmmaker, listen, it's fun, first of all, and it really helps everybody. So take notes, because these people were part of that whole process and that helped them, that's for sure. So yeah, thank you to you guys, to all your mentors and all the cast and crew that were part of Shoegazer. We wish you nothing but continued success with your movie. So thank you.
Congratulations.
And, to everybody else out there, we've got still our closing night movie tonight at 9 o'clock. Shoot to Marry, Everyone's Leaving Us, and Tips. It's a really, really funny night. Please tune in. Until then, thank you very much. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Wendy Potonsky, and I'm the managing partner and owner of Retake Furniture Rentals. Retake is once again a proud supporter of the Canadian Film Festival and is working to contribute to the Canadian film and TV industry by making it an easy and sustainable place to do business. Retake understands the importance of set design and the dynamic nature of the film and TV industry, which is why we created a company to specifically support Canadian filmmakers. Retake provides sustainable short and long-term furniture rental options to meet production schedules and product needs. Our in-house upholstery services can tailor our product to meet your set design requirements and match your color schemes. We use sustainable approaches to minimize product going to landfill when you no longer need the furniture on your set. Retake can also assist you in setting up your office with sustainable alternatives to keep your team working safely as we all head back to work during this unprecedented time. Our goal is to help you create memorable sets. Stay safe, everyone, and enjoy the films and shorts at this year's Canadian Film Festival.